to be specific, Ministry of Health nti obulwadde bususse, ekirwadde kyeyongedde, government erabudde, mask muzizze n'ebirala. How man lured 2 women to their death. Bongera okuwa details ku mboozi eri ey'omusajja yassa abaagalwa be oluvannyuma lw'okubabbako ensimbi zaabwe. Emboozi y'e Kasese bagikuwadde wano mu bujjuvu. Survivors boogera ki olunaku olwajja okuba nga walabye Felix Klaije Brigadier General yalugamba nti kakati oyo mwogezi wa ggye lya Uganda yagamba nti bannaaye ffe already abayizi be baawamba baali 6, 6 of them be baawamba naye 3 ne basibatuka abajambula ba ADF era kakati we twogera badiziddwa dda ew'abazadde baabwe. And again, I found that statement a little bit not convincing because abaana bwe babanga ddala leero olunaku lwakubiri incident yali olwa 6 bwe baba baatolose I don't know, why do you hand them to their parents that soon? I don't know, my view would be, I don't know, maybe lwokuba siri mukugu mu byakwerinda, but I think baali badde bankizo nnyo mu kunoonyereza kugira nga batugamba nti that was actually done and concluded. But number 2, rehabilitation, okutereeza obwongo bwabwe n'okubabudaabuda. But if at all they were handed to their parents, well, I don't know. But Felix Klaije yatugambye nti 6 be baawamba, 3 ne baddizibwayo, rather ne badduka kubayeekera era bakwasiddwa dda bazadde baabwe. Bakulaga wano ba survivors abamu bali mu malwaliro baga nti omu yafeekinga nti yali afudde, mwana mulenzi wuuno ayogera nti banenze neefuula afudde, abasajja ne bandeka omwana ne bamuyita Mumbere, myaka 18, Godwin Mumbere, 18 years. Agamba, I don't know whether I can read briefly what he's saying. The incident happened after we had returned to our dormitories after evening preps. Tikino kyaliwo nga bakava mu evening preps nga bagenze mu dormitories zaabwe. The rebels came and knocked the door and our school head boy asked them to identify themselves. Bebakonkona head boy naga mwebani. They told us that they were our matron, but we remembered that we have a patron for the boys' dormitory. Fe patron bamwe ba matron, and then fabalenzi tulina patron, therefore we became suspicious. Our colleague peeped outside and saw someone with a gun. Twekengeramu omu ku bannaffe n'alingiza mu katuli agenda okulaba ebisajja, omu ku bisajja nga ayina emmundu. Our head prefect immediately told us to keep quiet. Atukulira ntugamba ne musirike. I remember seeing 6 attackers entering our dormitory. They had casual civilian attire, carried knives and machetes, while one of them wore a uniform like that of the army and had a gun. After successfully hiding from them inside the dormitory, I had to smear my face with blood from my colleagues. When they returned to check on us, they thought I was dead, and that's how I survived. Yesiga omusaayi ogw'omu ku banne bwe baali basse, Godwin Mumbere, 18 years. Very horrifying story from a young man.
The story of Kasese is still hard to tell and hard to believe. Because like you said, it will be right that the man you are talking about, the survivors, shouldn't be left to interact with the community immediately as now. In a sober environment, their parents will be allowed to see them,
yes,
and know that they are available, but tell them that for now, we are still using them. And keeping them would mean that not punitive, that they are arrested, but like for rehabilitation.
Yeah.
The longer they stay, the more they remember, so the more they tell. It will be very good that much of the stories they tell every time they remember something is taught to security. And in this case, you don't even need to ask them. You simply need to put a recorder around them. Tell them to
interact freely.
It's what we call psychotherapy, psychosocial therapy. You simply know to interact. You put them among their friends with a separate recorder. That you put them among others. So whatever story they tell is being recorded. Because when you do it under security, under questioning, they may fear or withhold some information. But when you let them loose to speak freely, they will speak a lot of information with honesty that you can now later collect this information for you to have a clue.
I wish as we proceed, our producer would look for us that story, Brigadier General Felix Klaije, just give us only Brigadier Klaije. When you get it, we shall hear what he said about the same.
These days I don't listen to, I don't know what has happened to my brother Klaije. I don't know. Anyway, should be played. Let's listen. But somehow, somewhere, Kulaije, who was a professional spokesperson, very consistent, eloquent, and well structured in his press addresses, is turning into a Fred Enanga comical kind of address. He's copying, instead of driving Enanga to his side, he wants to speak the Enanga style, because Enanga over time is become, he things now sound like comical. People just enjoy him talking now. They don't even need to examine the facts and any gaps in between.
Let's listen to this. Just give us the sound.
Let's listen to.
Ng'ali ku ebibuuzo byayizeemu ku nsonga ey'obulumbaganye obw'ekasese.
Twakoze ekyetaagisa okola nti nibagezaako okudda tebasobola kuyingira kubanga kisooka tubagoba tuli mu buufu bwabwe. Namba 2 twongedde amagye kati emitala w'ensalo okwongera obukuumi ku sayidi eri. Mwife tulowoleza mu kukumira bweru so si munda mu nnyumba.
Kulaije asoose okutegeeza ng'embeera mu kitundu ekyagwiremu encuku eno obweyize mu nteeko ng'amagye gazinze ku buli kanomero okwongera ku by'okwerinda nga waliwo n'enonyenwanyi ebitwalibwa okulawuna obwengula nga babinga abalabe abaakola obulumbagane ku Uganda.
Ko ekyekango kino ekyawaddewo nekiba nga kyatiisizza abantu n'okunyolwa olw'okufiirwa abaana bano naye nga okutwaliza wamu Kasese district n'ebirala ebitundu ebiriraanyeewo embeera eri mulaala. Of course abantu batya nti osanga banaakomawo naye twakoze ekyetaagisa okola nti nibagezaako okudda tebasobola kuyingira.
Kubibuuza abantu bye beebuuza n'omuli oba by'ebyokwerinda obulumbagane buno bwe bwakolebwa baali beebulankanizibwa ku mirimu gyabwe kubanga essomero eryakolebwako obulumbagani liri kumpi n'ankambi ey'amagye ne poliisi. Kino Kulaije ate bw'akiizeemu.
Ddiini ki? Ndi mukristaayo ssebo. Eriyo Sande ba Reverend gye baali bawosezza nga tebabulidde enjiri. Temwonoona mukyabba bannammwe neza gavumenti mukyayenda mukyatengana. Kiki kyentegeeza kati awo tugambe nti Church of Uganda erimedde omulimu gwayo wangi so nga timunatunenya sooka otulye society generally nti sitaani bw'aba asobola okuyingira abakristaayo abasaba buli wiiki abalala basaba na buli lunaku tasobola tayinza kulemwa kujja eno naffe natutaataaganya.
Kulaije akakayisa ati ebyokwerinda mu buli kanomero k'eiganga biri mulaala wabula yalabula abantu nti ensonga y'obutebenkevu ya buli omu kubanga obona by'ebyokwerinda bakolera ku mawulire ag'ekikeesi ge batwala mu bantu ba buliido.
Kwerinda bikolera mu bantu ba bulijjo mwe maaso mwe matu kati bwe muba tuwadde mawulire kizibufu okumanya kabe kasinge n'olulimi lwogera sirumanyi naye abakulembeze baba bakolaganya n'ebitongole by'okwerinda security ebeera ggulugulu.
Kitegeerekeike nti ku baana 6 abaagambibwa 3 ku bo akubye nti basoboire okutoloka kwe bayeekera era bayira nga Butiiba agemesebwa ab'enganda dhaibwe.
Abaana bali bawambidde bali 6 abasatu basobodde okutoloka so bakyalina basatu kati betulina okununula okuva mu mikono gyabwe.
Jengo Eria Muhammad Mukalu n'abatusakira ewulire lino ku Lwababa TV Amakonde.
When the general was speaking, you think that he sounds somehow comic in some of the statements.
You know, when Karemire was speaking, remember? Karemire had added a certain level of valor and professionalism in that office. His statements were calculated. I agree that every day we sin, despite listening to the Gospels. But you know, we are discussing a complicated matter of people's lives. We are discussing an unusual situation, an unusual occurrence. That's why we are calling it a terrorist attack, a terrorist act. Simplifying it with the explanation that my brother, my Muko Kulaije is doing, it's quite unfortunate. It's not as simple as that. Simply no. One would be, yes, we have a duty to protect Ugandans with their property. We have all the infrastructure and the resources to first collect intelligence and prevent an occurrence of such.
So that calls for?
We agree that there was a breakdown or
our system,
a mishap in our intelligence system. We are not able to detect this. We did not see it coming.
So that would have called for owning up.
That's first.
Then apologize.
For that matter, therefore, we want to apologize to the country. But I also want to reassure you, Ugandans, that we have now woken up, deployed very well across the border, and our senior officers are now in a meeting trying to look at a fresh strategy to secure our borders more than they are today. That would be my statement. The issue of asking my young area Jengo whether they don't sin every day despite listening to the Gospels is giving the subject undue simplicity. You understand? It's looking at life and the tragedy there with the, what would I say? Simple lenses, simplistic lenses. It's a tragedy, it's a terrorist attack. An attack that the world president, the world leaders have commented about, including the Pope. It is not something usual.
It's not something you can take for granted.
Compare it to this. You simply say what I want to hear. We have secured this place over the years. It is our duty to secure it, and we tried our best. But perhaps along the way,
we slept on the job.
We slept on the job. And for that, we own up and apologize to Ugandans and want to reassure them that we are now back on the drawing board.
Ekibuzo kyabuzo kiwulidde oli wa ddiini ki?
Ndi Mukristaayo. Musajja wattu.
Yesu yakoma ddi okuva ku nsi?
Emyaka 200 emabega.
Ng'alese eki? Enjiri. Abantu teboonoona mpaka kati.
So boonoona. So kati dda kukyeka sesebuuza.
Ndeka. Together
yes, because you
find
his answers quite simplistic.
Yes, I agree with you entirely. I agree with you entirely.
It may be the truth that nebwe bakuuma batya, there will be one or two incidents. But when the incidents of such insecurity are widespread, because one thing we are not looking at, olunaku lumu ba reporting ebintu ebitiisa nga 3. For example, yesterday twadina amawulire aga terrorist attack eye Kasese. On the same day twabadde n'omusuubuzi w'ebwonda mu Busoga gwe bakuba amasasi gunmen and unknown gunmen. On the same day twabadde n'okutemulwa kwa mutabani wa Michael Kifubangabo, general manager wa Baba FM e Busoga. Mutabani gwe basanze ekiro ne bamutemula, twasanze ali mu bitaba bya musaayi agudde bamukubye. You understand? These can no longer be called isolated incidents. No, not at all.
Really?
They cannot.
Because police and other security agencies will argue, actually, as they've always argued.
No. They are no longer isolated.
These are isolated
No.
incidents of crime.
The level of insecurity. Imagine, at the extreme end of the country in Kasese, there is a rebel attack. At another extreme end in the east in Mayuge, gunmen kill a businessman. In the middle, the near east of our country, unknown people, machete holding people, kill a journalist. Rogers Kifubanga, I think the pictures are horrible, the pictures are going round, and I think
We can't show them to the people.
we cannot show them to the people because they are a bit scaring, but we pray that the soul of our brother Rogers Kifubanga rest in peace, because he's been a worker. He worked for Baba Television, worked for Baba FM, and the father is a general manager of Baba FM. Omwami Kifubangabo sebo twenda okukusasira eino. Rogers, the man who was killed, once taught in my school, the School of Media, because he was a journalist, a professional one, a very brilliant young man, very intelligent. I do not even know or want to imagine why somebody could have mercilessly wanted to get him out of his life. But we're with you. We'll follow you tomorrow in Nagweni, Bulopa, sub-county for the burial of Rogers Kifubangabo. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
I'm wondering whether actually government, NRM government, can now continue to stand telling people nti twanyweza ebyokwerinda.
No, it cannot.
Sisuubira nga abantu beekasese bakyasobola okwogera twebaka ku tulo.
It cannot. It cannot.
Because
It cannot. In fact, in Jinja, obunkenke obuli ejinja, as we talk now, juzi waliwo omutula gwe batemula. In fact, in Jinja, almost on a daily, around Jinja city, they are killing someone. And the people killing have machetes.
machetes.
And they are telling me, baba gamba, anti mwatugobye ku nguudo. Mwatugobesezza emidala ku nguudo, mwatugobye we tukola, kati katujje tubalumba eno. Muzikolenga ffe tubateme eno tuzifune.
Oh, really?
The same statement that the people who attacked me on June 25th last year told me when they attacked me in my house.
They attacked you in your house?
Yes. And it's told virtually everything. They were making the same statements.
Tuze.
Yes. Anti batugobye gye tukolera.
Katujje
tuzibanoneko. Now when the man got into my bedroom, n'alaba ebitabo. Is that? N'ayomba buyombi.
Olina bitabo tolina sente.
Mwaba oluzungu. Mwe mutusibyeko omusajja. Muli mu bitabo. Nyumba yonna ejjudde ebitabo. That's what the man told me. Mwaba oluzungu.
Nga bambadde masiki.
Ayambadde akakookolo. Omutwe ku ttaka. Agambye omukyala omutwe ku ttaka. Aninye ku mutwe. How they got into the house up to today, nobody has ever explained. And they took.
Yeah, because now the issue of security is very key. If the other day someone just here murdered Isma Olak says, just the other day.
You understand?
And we can't tell, we can't trace who actually killed this gentleman.
So,
just like there's so many other killings that have happened, I wonder whether actually government ya NRM ekyasobola okuyimirira proudly so negamba ebyokwerinda biri gulu ekaseesa muli egakugambye n'abaana n'abasomesa ku masomero badduseeyo.
That's why I wouldn't agree with the security. Nti abaana mukaaga abagenze n'abayeekera basatu baatolose ne basimattuka tubafunye tubaddiza bazadde baabwe. No, that was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
Would have held these people for some time. First of all, they need a lot of help and assistance in psychological recovery.
Yeah.
First of all, to tell the story. How did it happen? What do they remember? And what they remember cannot be told in these first minutes. It keeps coming. It keeps coming. Ewaffe ebulamoji, the balamoji are intelligent people. balina n'engeri gye boogeza omuntu ekiro nga yeebase gwenga kkungu ne weebaka ekiro
muli balogo
kyoyagala naye tulina sayansi balinake bayinza okukuteekako n'obanga ali mu kirooto n'oyogera byonna nga bwe byabadde ne weemalayo byonna era bwe batyo abakazi be waffe bakwata abasajja abenzi n'abasajja be bakwata abakazi abenzi omuntu akubwa akantu nze nkaiddaada yalinganako omuntu yaba mundu yayogera byonna nga bwe bibayire bw'oba ne likoodo oba obifunye. So I want to imagine that the situation there is still tricky, but also to understand what every time I've said this, people look at me as I think being treacherous. What are the issues of our brothers and sisters in the ADF? Because they're also Ugandans. They are our brothers and sisters.
It's a Ugandan rebel group.
You understand? What are their issues?
A Ugandan terrorist group, yes. What are their issues?
Yes, what are their issues? What is it that they are
Do we need to
about?
know their issues?
You need to. You need to.
And do what?
You need to. That's what Obote government did when Mr. Museveni and his rebels were misbehaving. That's why you hear people talk about the Nairobi peace talks.
Yeah, but I remember Obote. Anyway, at some point I remember Obote saying it would be criminal on his part to engage with the Musevenis, the rebels of that time. And his argument again, because someone has shot a few people, burnt a few buses, and now you say, come and we talk. Yes.
And what happened to him? Where is he? Where is he? If he thought it was a few people, where is he?
Museveni is not the president. The rebels then.
So, they say you call the rebels a few, because rebels have burnt a few buses. Because the things that the ADFs are doing, the NRA did. Read me Psalm 7's mustard seed. I got it in 2002,
So
3.
So you're saying Mr. Museveni's government should actually listen to the ADF?
There should be efforts to reach out to these people and talk to them.
But they say ADF is linked to ISIS, which is an international terrorist organization. The other day I saw international media saying ISIS-linked terrorist group ban school in Uganda. Now this
is what people are saying. We need first of all to prove whether that is true.
Whether ADF is linked to ISIS?
Yes. Then just not say it. These are not sweeping statements you can say. Is it true the ADF is linked to
ISIS?
The ISIS you're talking about. That's one. Number two, what would be the issues that ISIS has against Uganda? What are their issues? Are they angry with us being in Somalia? Or are these ADF guys angry that we have looked for them deep into DRC? Or how about if a neighbor, one of the neighbors, unhappy with our entry into...
No, but ADF has been there for more than 20 years.
Yes, what are their issues? Other than saying that it is Islamic extremism, what are the other issues? Some people are telling us that the attackers were saying, Allahu Akbar, as they held their machetes. This man, when you read, the man has not mentioned that.
Yeah, he has not.
The survivor has not mentioned that.
He has not.
He said, I saw people dressed casually, and one in a military, attire. He's not mentioned that they was saying, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,
He didn't say
Allahu
that.
Akbar, while holding their machetes. So who has the right account? And now the problem is that the way we are gathering information, there is no information that is kept. I saw Mr. Kabyanga, the minister.
Kabyanga Baluku.
Now Kabyanga,
State Minister wa ICT.
Kabyanga, and then General Olum, and then now General Kulaije. Everybody is trying to speak out so that they justify that
Speak
government.
out authoritatively.
So that to justify, not to justify, to exonerate government. That in somehow government, our forces did what they could but this was something inevitable. And so whatever they are gathering, they are speaking
So what they're doing now is more of PR, public relations.
There is a need to reserve some information. There is a need to investigate this because
and you see, that's the challenge. That's the challenge with our systems. We rush to speak. This one speaks, the other one speaks, this one speaks. Yet you would expect information to be gathered, processed, and then
repeat the word.
Processed.
Gathered and
processed.
Now that's the mistake. We are not processing this information. Here I believe that there is information that the public should not know. There are things we cannot say. Because you are saying this is a terrorist attack. That information, somebody is saying this is the ADF, we shall pursue them, it's a terrorist attack. Along the way, there is another account that this was an ownership wrangle of the school. Yesterday, I had Minister Kabyanga saying, you know, the owner, the man who has been funding the school, was about to come. He had sent auditors after they had finished the auditing.
In fact,
that's when it happened.
In fact, New Vision has that. Details emerge on school donors pro.
Very good. In the there was another account they got. It actually said that some of the children killed in this attack were actually not students of that school. No, they were simply hired somewhere to come to this school during the audit. So the auditors find the population of the school that is impressive and proportionate to the funds that the other funder has been sending. You understand? So some of those were not.
Meaning, this calls for
that's another account.
Investigation.
That's another account.
You get these so many accounts.
The LC1 chairperson of the village said he did not know that there were students in that school.
He didn't know.
He said the owner had never reported to them. They did not know.
So they were not seeing students.
They used to see fewer. That sometimes the population will be of students, will be around 10 students, will be around there for like 2-3 weeks, and then they go away. So it was opening like a part-time school. And then another resident from the same village said the owners of the school misbehaved. They were not good people. They were bad-mannered people. And for that reason, the village had denied them children to enroll in that school. He said they were getting children from far away from this place. But again, when he says far away, we see the barriers taking place around the village. All of this information
should be gathered, processed,
and processed,
disseminated,
accordingly. Let Adam Kungu get what he needs to know. Let the commander-in-chief, who has just recovered from COVID, get what he needs to know. Let the other stakeholders get what they need to know. But the way we are operating now, tulinga mbata buli ekijja kiyitamu bweki
katujje tulinga mbaata bekijja kiyitamu buyisirigo bya Sir Simon Muyanga ntaya tujja n'amawulire